in fashion, it's kind of like I would say within like the black community, especially like more like
Yeah,
hip hop community, it's still fairly like a new thing that's been getting a lot of buzz amongst like everybody from top to bottom,
yeah,
like whether you're athlete, musician, like artist, actor, like you see us like kind of like really delving into the high end fashion a lot more. Before it was just like kind of like people just hopping on to like whatever's hot right now, whether it's Gucci, whether it's Louis, like whatever it is, and you would see people wearing that as a status thing, but not necessarily like taking that aspect of fashion and like making it like a core part of like what they love and what they're like pursuing on a much like deeper level and wanting to get into that world. Obviously, like people
yeah.
like Fubu and like all them were before in Rockwear, but like even them, they were like still kind of outliers in terms of the community. So like now, like, do you see like a lot more like people of color, like black people, like really trying to like get into this high end fashion and like trying to learn from you now, like how to get in and like trying to touch all these different venues and avenues into fashion?
Yeah, I feel like the person that really gave us hope. Obviously,
Yeah.
And all those guys were like they were doing all this because they had a Kanye, Virgil Abloh, Heron Preston, Matthew Williams. Like they all had a internship at Fendi, and I remember watching that Fendi internship, and they didn't really make no money on none of that, but they were learning how to become high end luxury designers because no
Yeah.
one was taking them serious. And then that's when Virgil came out with Off White, and then obviously, you got to give props to Jerry Lorenzo with Fear of God because he was running around like back in 2014, 15 with the Jerry board. I think it was called like Jerry Boy. Like people were all dressing like him and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of started that. And then, but what helped me was Virgil Abloh. When I saw him get the job for Louis Vuitton, that was when I was like, oh, the big houses, they they want the culture from the streets.
Yeah.
They want to incorporate streetwear into the high end fashion.
Yeah.
They want to make that high end luxury t-shirt now. Like they're not interested in just doing suits and high end dresses and stuff like that. That's when you start seeing like the bomber jackets come into style. They've been in style, but like that's when like you really started
Started to come
seeing
back.
they started coming back. And then so for me, I would say when Virgil got into Louis Vuitton and Virgil Off White started going crazy, and then like when Virgil got the Nike deal to do the Big Ten shoes when he did 10 collaborations with all those shoes and stuff like that, that was groundbreaking for me because I was like, oh, there's a way in for young black designers like myself that are trying to emerge and that are looking up to these guys. There's a way in, you know what I mean? So for me, it was when Virgil got into Louis that motivated me as an individual to say, hey, you can you can start a young brand. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of hard work, but you can get to
It's
that level.
possible.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. I
So
mean, like that is something that is a shift that's happened, especially in like in high fashion. Like if you look around high fashion now, it's basically like hip hop culture and streetwear.
it's hip
Like
hop, bro.
they're
It's
straight up
all
are just hip hop. I mean, a perfect example of that, Dapper Dan. Dapper Dan back in the early '90s in
Dapper
New
Dan is
York.
huge.
He was the one
Dapper
that
is huge,
started kind of like taking these high fashion, high end brands and then
bro.
reimagining for like the hip hop culture.
Dapper was making pieces that Gucci was like,
And now
nigga,
they
how
doing
did
them.
you make this?
They're
How
like
did you make
recopying the
this?
shit that he
Yeah, he has his own collaborations, which he deserves. It took a long time for him to
and
get the
lawsuits
collaboration
and they sued him,
lawsuits, but
took
they
his
sued him.
money, and then they did the jacket that he already did and then brought it back what like 2, 3 years ago. And
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
was like,
because
yo, that's a Dapper Dan piece.
he was making styles, bro, that Gucci were like, damn, that actually is fire, but you didn't get the permission to use that type of design. Like, why are you using our logo? But they started realizing that the streets were wearing his designs more than they were wearing the
Yeah.
official season's designs. So Dapper Dan is definitely the one that pushed the envelopes and took the bullets first for us because he was like I think
Cutting
they
edge.
gave him a nickname on the streets, but he was the king of New York streets, bro. Like, if you needed pieces, you go Dapper Dan, bro.
Every rapper in the '90s had a Dapper Dan piece. Mike Tyson,
Yeah,
like if you was the guy in New
Mike
York, you
Tyson.
wanted to be a guy, you went to Dapper, and like
That's the reason why he got in trouble was because of Mike Tyson and all those guys because they were wearing that shit on the global stage, and then next thing you know, Gucci's like, did y'all sell this piece to Mike? Like, how did Mike get this?
No, they was like,
nah,
we didn't make that piece. That's what they were like. Yo, we didn't make this
never
shit.
Seen that print. That's why he got in trouble, bro. And the next thing you know, bro, he got like a something on his store. It was like, you gotta close shop.
Oh yeah, he got sued. He got sued. Obviously, they're big. They got money. And he's still like a little designer and whatnot. And then it took him 2 decades for them to finally recognize and give him the recognition and be like, bring him into the fold. Like, instead of fighting against it, why don't you like grab this talent, grab this guy, and like bring him in? Because clearly he has an eye for things that you guys can't see.
Yeah, he was damn near the street creative director for Gucci, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He was a creative director before they even announced it. Like, he was making some crazy shit.
I mean, what do you think about the trend of like all these high-end fashion brands basically going to the streets now? Like, everything they're making is basically streetwear at this point.
I think Virgil called it. He called it back in 2016. He said that streetwear will evolve and they would take over the high fashion houses and they would eventually start making oversized jackets, baggy pants. Like, it's just a wave that like it's kind of like a wave where like if the high-end fashion houses did not adjust to what was going on, they were going to become doormat. No one was going to wear their pieces.
Yeah. So
Gucci started doing it. But the thing that Gucci and Louis them did is they took what the streets were doing and then they made it into like more refined. They made it more polished. Yeah. They made it more polished. And now the Gucci's doing it, and it's crazy because people don't even realize that like the jackets are like shit, like $4K for a Gucci jacket, but they're only paying their people to make it. It's like $10, bro.
If that.
So, bro, that's like I don't even know the percentage on that, bro. That's like a crazy percentage.
400x up mark, you know what I mean?
Bro,
like,
that's crazy, bro. And people are buying it because it says Gucci or it says Louis. But hats off to Pharrell though. I mean, Pharrell at Louis Vuitton.
That's been their whole business model over the past at least decade. Is put out simple, easy pieces, put out a t-shirt that says Balenciaga, and now everybody wearing it. It's like, that's just a screen print. That is a streetwear screen print that you're selling for $1,000.
Bro, that is a screen that was burned with paint and a heavy cotton tee that is screen printed with Balenciaga on it, and it's being sold to you guys for over $3K. That's it.
Crazy.
The only reason why it's so valuable because you got Kim Kardashian, you got Kanye West was wearing that shit for 2-3 years. All the celebrities are wearing that shit. That's all it is, bro. It is a screen printed shirt. There's nothing, and on top of that, they're taking the beautiful blank screen printed shirt and now they're destroying the shirts to make it look even more messier,
a little
nastier,
lived in, used.
And Kanye called that. He said that homeless fashion.
Oh no, Kanye was definitely at the forefront of that.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, I'll give him a little bit because back in high school, I definitely remember girls walking around in like torn up ripped jeans back in the early 2000s. People were like, wait, you paid more for rips than, you know, like that was kind of the start of everything.
It's a swag, bro. It's a swag.